Alex Jones.
Make the most of every moment in this short life we have together on this planet. Remember, it's a magical thing to be alive, to be conscious in this multi-trillion-year-old universe we live in. That's me putting a human number on it. It's really as old as infinity itself. No beginning and no end. We feel like we've been forever upon this plane of existence. But as individual sentient beings, ladies and gentlemen, we've only been conscious for the twinkling of an eye. So in this brief glimpse you have into the universe, certainly make the most of it. And don't let Madison Avenue make you feel like your life is empty and meaningless because your waist is a little too big, or your hair's thinning, or you don't look like a supermodel, or you don't look like an NFL football player, or because you don't have the biggest, baddest Harley. What matters is that we are conscious, sentient beings, and we are alive but once on this plane, and it is all nothing more than a test. All right, big transmission lined up for you today. Extremely informative issues on a host of fronts. Remember 6 months ago we had a PrisonPlanet.com article written by Paul Watson, and it had links to mainstream news articles in Europe and China dealing with the Rand Corporation, which is a large private think tank, one of the top three think tanks in the Western world that advises the Pentagon and other federal agencies on the actions they should take to expand the power of the one world government at the expense of the United States, of course, and individual liberty. They always pose as if they're patriots, but it's the opposite. And they manipulate a lot of well-meaning men and women to do very, very wicked things in the name of patriotism, but that's a separate issue. And it was dealing with the Rand Corporation saying the international banking cartel that owns the United States and Europe and England would not be able to carry out the expansion of world government through the financial crisis they had created by design without a giant world war bigger than Iraq I or Iraq II. It can't just be a localized theater war. Not a localized theater war, but a world war. You see, governments tend to stage terror attacks and wars to get power and control. And the social controllers that run Europe and the United States, they're a lot slicker with their tyranny. It's not as naked as it is in North Korea, where it's openly run by a hereditary thug, a second generation now handing it on to the grandson of the first dictator, where there are troops on the streets and checkpoints and cameras on every street corner, though we're becoming that. And paramilitary police marching around and secret arrest and no due process or habeas corpus and torture camps. The bad guys, they torture. I listed a lot of things North Korea does, and you would recognize that we are becoming that by design. But not there yet. So the establishment can say, look at North Korea. They censor the internet. They secretly arrest people. They have troops on the streets. They don't have any due process. We've got to go to war with them. We've got to have a conflict with them. That's exactly what the Rand Corporation said that the globalists need to be able to bring in a world crisis. They bragged that the global elites started World War I to get the League of Nations. When that didn't go all the way through, they staged World War II by funding Hitler and the Soviets. That's now all declassified in public. We've covered that ad nauseum. And they set up the United Nations. And now to set up a new Bank of the World, global carbon taxes, they need the fake threat of environmental climate change. First it was global ice age. Then when it got hot, they say it's a warming. Now that it's getting cold, they call it climate change. They've got school kids believing the summer is abnormal and that the temperature is supposed to be 74 degrees year-round. They're actually teaching that. Children believe summer and winter is a catastrophe. Seasons are now abnormal. And a couple more generations of being called a conspiracy theorist if you believe in the 4 seasons, and the yuppies will say there are no seasons, this is abnormal. And there are no 12-year sun cycle seasons either. That is abnormal. The sun has now cooled, according to all of the gauges by universities and NASA. So the ice caps of Mars are getting bigger. The ice caps that have been shrinking on this planet, known as Earth or terra firma. They're getting bigger again. The sun is real. It really is a yellow ball out there. It really is a star. It drives the climate, the main driver. Pretty soon they'll say the sun doesn't exist. And if they tell the yuppies that, they'll say it doesn't. But, I'm going off into satire here. The issue is the Rand Corporation said we need a world war. We need something big to get the people's minds off of the private banks bankrupting the planet by design. And then even though we're bankrupting the people and bringing them into bondage, there won't be a political upheaval that will throw our system out of power. It's either all or nothing. The elites have gone for broke. They either get total world government now or they begin collapsing backwards and end up going to prison. And that is possible. There's talk all over the planet of arresting the private bankers that engineered the controlled financial implosion. The IMF World Bank documents are leaked. They're public. The people now know. There's a bill that's got 226 votes now, and it'll go to the full floor in the next few weeks to audit the private Fed. It's never been audited. Congress is subpoenaing the Fed about $300+ billion in missing cash. The Fed arrogantly said they were above the law. No one could audit them. Baloney. You're not above the law. Nobody is. I don't care if you sit there in a $5,000 suit slickly acting like you're above everybody with that fake aplomb. It's the confidence of a con artist as he's sneaking out with the jewels and somebody catches him on the back porch and he says, oh, I'm just a mover. I'm just here helping secure the jewels. Baloney. You're a criminal. You're a cat burglar. We caught you. I don't care if you're wearing a tuxedo, Bernanke. The jig's up, con men. So they need wars. They need staged terror attacks. And believe me, they're going to give them to you. So, 3 words. North Korea, Iran, Pakistan. We're going to talk about that when we get back and what could be the beginnings of World War III, a la the New World Order. Brought to you by the Anglo-American, Dutch/European/Rothschild crime axis. And all of you yuppies and social climbers, you like globalism? You like NAFTA and GATT? You like how slowly everything's getting turned off and real unemployment's at 19%? The government says it's at 10%. You like how world exports went down by 30% last month alone? From the UN's index of 180 a year ago to 95 today? You like that? Well, just keep clutching the government and the media and all the lies they tell you. Just keep trusting everything, and everything will not be all right. But in the end, you'll wake up, won't you? And remember, you're an American. You're not a slave, that you hate tyranny. And more importantly, you remember you're a human being and can say no to corruption. North Korea warns of nuclear war amid rising tensions, AP. Key article up on Infowars.com by Kurt Nimmo today. North Korea Cuban Missile Crisis Redux. Key article. North Korea in early phase of all-out confrontation with the U.S. London Telegraph. Iran going on with that election. I don't doubt that Ahmadinejad has stolen the election. China warns against forces and carrying out North Korea sanctions. It's all coming up when we get back, and a lot more in the latest on the economy. I'm Alex Jones. Your calls are coming up as well. Stay with us.